Grace and peace be with you. Hi, my name is Mark. I'm the pastor at Sycamore Creek in Potterville. I have a brief thought for you today as we continue with our New Testament challenge. We are on day 39, reading Luke 23 and 24 and 1 Thessalonians 3 and 4. My brief thought today comes from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and a section called Living to Please God. Living to Please God. Now, Paul is instructing brothers and sisters in this section in 1 Thessalonians 4. And he says it is God's will that you should be sanctified. And sanctified is a fancy Bible term for being changed, for being transformed, for growing in the character of Christ. Now, what is the character of Christ? Well, Paul's going to point us to that in verses 9 and 10. And spoiler alert, it's growth in love. And now, how does Paul talk about getting there? Well, Paul talks about how each of us should learn to control his own body. And at the heart of controlling our own body is self-control. You see, there is so much in our world that is out of our control. There are other people that are out of control. There are big things like governments and forces outside of our control that we can't do anything about. But what we can control, Paul says, is to start with ourselves. To start with our desires and to not be led around by every single desire that might enter our bodies. To not be led around by our impulses, by the things that we want, but to think and to look to God in the midst of those desires. You see, when we are led around by our desires, we will often take advantage of others. We will often try to control them as much as we can. And Paul says to truly be sanctified starts with ourselves. And then he points us in verses 9 and 10 to what control really looks like. He says in verse 9, "Now about brotherly love, we do not need to write to you, for you yourselves have been taught by God to love each other. And in fact, you do love all the brothers throughout Macedonia. What we urge you, brothers, to do so more and more." To do so more and more. All of this sanctification, all of this goal, Paul says, it's that you might love more and more. Today, may you be aware of your desires. And may you give those desires to God. And may God, through God's Spirit working in you, help grow your self-control. Grace and peace be with you.